Good evening, classmates, and good evening, sir. I am Cecille Llagas of BS Ed Mathematics C. I am going to discuss about defining test objectives or learning outcomes targeted for assessment. So first, let us define what is the test objective. Test objective is a kind of test wherein there is only one answer to each item. It is generally called for single words, phrases, numbers, letters, and other symbols as responses to items. So, ang example po ng objective test are true or false, multiple choice, and yung matching type. So, may mga test categories po ang objective test. Number 1 is single subject test. Next is multi-subject standardized test. Number 3 is the alternative assessment. So what is the single subject test? It is gaining individualized information on student subject, specific knowledge and abilities. Help school teacher assess strengths, areas for improvements, and the direction that curriculum should move in. Use single area evaluation for math or language or literacy content. So, ang single subject test daw po is a kind of test na ina-assess natin ang student based po sa kanilang abilities in terms of memory and structure. Next is the multi-subject standardized test. A formal assessment with mathematically computed scores which provide a measure of the student aptitude based against grade level or norms. Measures subject such as verbal comprehension, nonverbal reasoning, and mathematical or quantitative abilities. So, ang multi-subject test naman po is a kind of test kung saan sinusukat ang kalaman ng isang estudyante based sa kanyang kung saan based po sa kanyang grade level and then yung age bracket. Like example po nito is yung achievement test. Next is alternative assessment, often called authentic, comprehensive, or performance-based assessment, usually designed by the teacher to gauge students' understanding or material. So, alternative assessment po is also designed so that the content of the assessment matches the content of instruction. Like for example, oral presentations, project, experiments, and student work portfolios. So para po maging effective ang ating assessment, dapat nagbibigay tayo ng feedback sa ating student kung saan at alin ang kailangan nilang i-improve. In that way po, natutulungan natin ang ating student na mapalago ang kanilang kaalaman. So, there are type of test. Number 1, the norm reference test, criterion reference. Next is the survey, diagnostic test, formal test, informal test, static or summative test, and then the dynamic formative test. So, what is the norm reference? Student performance is communicated in percentile ranks, grade equivalent scores, normal curve equivalence, and scale scores. So, norm reference is a test wherein student performance is compared po sa kanilang sa kapareho nilang grade level. Next is the criterion reference. Student performance is measured against a standard. Ang criterion reference naman po, kabaliktaran naman ng norm reference. Ang example po nito is mga chapter test. Next is the survey. Provide an overview of general comprehension and word knowledge. So, this also used po to gather information about student satisfaction level, or ask the student on how they think they learn. Number 4 is the diagnostic test. Assess a number of areas in greater depth. So, the diagnostic test also is a form of pre-assessment wherein nadidetermine po ng teacher ang skills and knowledge ng kada estudyante para maging guide sa kanilang pagtuturo. Next is the number 5, formal test are designed to given according to a standard set of circumstances. They have limits and they have set of directions which are be followed exactly. So, formal test daw po, ang formal test naman po is may standard para ma-measure ang kaalaman ng every student sa isang subject or content. Number 6 is the informal test. Informal tests do not have a set of standard directions. They have a great deal of flexibility on how they administered. Ang informal test naman po, kabaliktaran siya ng formal test. Kasi ang formal test may standard na sinusunod. And then ang informal test po is wala. Ang example po ng informal test is ang mga quizzes na ginawa ng mga teachers, review games. Number 7 is the static or summative test. Static summative test measures what the student has learned. So, sa static summative test naman po, mini-measure kung ano ang mga natutunan ng mga estudyante at the end of semester or grading period. Ang example po naman ito is yung final examination, end of chapter test. Number 8 is the dynamic formative test. This measures the student grasp of material that is currently being taught. Can also measures readiness. Formative tests help guide and inform instruction and learning. Example naman po ng dynamic test is yung quizzes, homework, and then yung portfolios. So, test format. Number 1 is the written test, multiple choice, alternative response, matching type, completion type, essay, mathematical questions, non-written test, physical fitness test, and then yung performance test. So, what is the written test? Written tests are tests that are administered on paper or on a computer. A test taker who takes a written test could respond to a specific items, writing or typing within a given space, or a test on a separate form or document. So, ang written test po is also a technique to assess student knowledge, skills, and abilities. Number 2, multiple choice. In a test that has items formatted as multiple choice questions. A student would given a number of set answers for each question and must choose which answer of group of answer is correct. So sa multiple choice po may may two families of multiple choice. Number one is yung true or false and yung one best answer. Sa true or false po, nire-require ang student na pumili ng answer na appropriate sa questions. Sa one best answer naman po requires a student to answer only one from the list answer. Number 3, the alternative response are true or false. These are questions present candidates with a binary choice. A statement is either true or false. This method presents problem as depending on the number of questions, a significant number of candidates could get 100% by just by guesswork and should an average get of 50%. Next, number 4 is the matching type. A matching item is an item that provides a defined term and requires a test taker to match identifying characteristic to the correct term. Number 5 is the completion type. Yung fill in the blank po na mga exam. A fill-in-the-blank item provides a test taker with an identifying characteristic and require the test taker to recall correct term. Two types of fill-in-the-blank test. The easier version provides a word bank of possible words that will fill in the blanks. Number 2 is the hardest variety, such as a test is fill-in-the-blank test in which no word bank is provided at all. Number 6 is the essay. Items such as a short answer or essay typically require a test taker to write a response to fulfill the requirements of the item. Essay items can test complex learning objective as well as the process used to answer the question. These items make difficult for a test. These items make difficult for a test taker to guess the correct answer and they require a test taker to demonstrate their writing skills as well as correct spelling and grammar. Number 7 is the mathematical question. Kadalasan sa mga sa physics, mathematics, sa mga science subjects. Most mathematics questions or calculation questions are from subjects such as chemistry, physics, or economics. Employ a style which does not fall into any of the above categories. Mathematics question state a mathematical problem or exercises that requires a student to write a freehand response. Number 8 is the non-written test. Are tests that are administered on skills and performance. A test taker who takes a non-written test could respond to specific instruction by executing or doing the activity within given time. So, ang example po ng non-written test, halimbawa yung sa PE po natin nung first year, nung nag-perform tayo ng folk dance, isa po yun sa example ng non-written test. Number 9 is the physical fitness. Physical fitness test is a test designed to measure physical strength, agility, and endurance. They are commonly employed in educational institutions as part of the physical education curriculum, in medicine as part of diagnostic testing, and as eligibility requirements in fields that focus on physical ability such as military or police. Number 10 is the performance test. Is an assessment that requires an examinee to actually perform a task or activity rather than simply answering questions referring to specific parts. This the purpose is to ensure gather fidelity to what is being tested. So ang performance test also is a form of test that requires a student to perform rather than to select an answer from a ready-made list. S- that would be all. Thank you.